This is Tower from Phase Rate 84, and I'm here to give you my pros and cons wrap up. For those of you who don't know what pros and cons wrap up is that instead of sitting here and telling you about each book was and how I felt about it, I'm gonna give you the pros and cons of each book. So let's say I have The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I'll say the pros about it. Simple writing to get you engaged in prose. Cons would be his pacing is slow. So that's basically what it is. So I'm gonna get into it, and if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes. I don't memorize my notes because it's a lot of times, and it's nice. And I'm not really into like speech, so this isn't really a speech. So the first book that I'm going to talk about, and it's also the Self-Space Book Club pick for October, and that was Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. And the pros are a space opera with horror twist, Nordish plot, subplot, and politics of Earth versus Mars versus the Fingers. The cons are characters descriptions non-existent, heavy language, characters never rise above stereotypes. The second book I read was Imaginary Friend by Steven CHBOSKY, and Jessie May from Jessie May Books loves this book. Pros: strong, awesome mother, twists and turns, and beautiful language. The cons, some people felt was too long. Some felt it was repetitive and didn't, and a lot of, I was going through the 2 rated and the 1 rated reviews, and each review I saw, they all said they didn't like the religious aspects of it. I'm not gonna say what it is because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Then there's this really fun book, and I'm trying to get into more romances, and that's Undercover Bromance by Lyssa K. Adams. The pros is the humor. It takes toxic masculinity and makes it positive, and a good way to deal with toxic masculinity. I like how the author approaches it, and sweet, swoony, and emotional. The cons, some didn't like the main character. Some felt that she was victim blaming and stuff and things like that. Some felt the author missed the mark on what she was trying to do, even though it's clear what she was trying to do in this novel. And it felt there was no chemistry between Liv and Mac. The next one I read, it was a manga called Me and the Devil Blues by Akira Huramoto. Sorry, I'll either have the picture up here or here. But I have some quotes, but I'll do the pros and cons first, and then I'll do the quotes. The pros is fantasy and thriller in a manga. Music and art is amazing. The art in there was really darkish and gritty, and a good mix of imagination and facts. Some people felt the cons are that some people felt that it was too weird. Don't like the added character. It seemed like he wanted to do Clyde more a Clyde story than who the was originally about, and some felt it wasn't very coherent. But here's some quotes. And also about this book, look up the trigger warnings. If you go to my Goodreads and for this manga, I put in some of the trigger warnings for it. But look up for any more trigger warnings that you need before you read this manga. Some of the quotes I liked is Saturday at the juke, you cut loose. Sunday at church, you was away all your sins. And Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday is all nothing but the blues. Everybody's got the blues in their heart. All we blues men do is grab hold of it, and bring it to life. The only way for a black man to break the chains that hold him in his hands is become a preacher or a bluesman. Those are the quotes that stood out to me in the book, in the manga. I keep saying book, but it's a manga. In the manga. The next book I read is The Whisper Man by Alex North. I didn't know it was his debut novel, and I thought was a solid debut. I like the kids' point of view and riveting from the start. Some felt that the writing was clumsy or the plot was clumsy. A few didn't like the daddy issues, and some felt that it was the cliche troubled detective. Although I haven't really read much of those, I've only seen that in like TV shows and movies. The next one I read was Misery by Stephen King. That's one of my favorite Stephen King books that I have read so far. And one of the best King's book. Annie Wilkins is creepy, evil, and crazy. Intense, graphic, horrifying, edge of your seat. And some felt that it was harmfully. The cons are some felt that the sexual terms of harmfully. The sexual terms of race and African references and setting, hateful words to women, and use of the N-word. So that's also a trigger warning. So check that out. And the next one was a graphic novel, and that was Wynonna Earp Volume 2, Legends. Werewolves, centuries-old cannibalistic serial killer, Wavery and Officer Hart are in this one, and excellent, snappy dialogue. Some people felt the story was wordy, so I don't know how a graphic novel is wordy. How's that? And not enough depth. And then I read another really good one. I think the book is better than the movie, and that is The Shining by Stephen King. The prose are old-fashioned harder old-fashioned haunted house, amazing characterization, and blanket of horror. Like legit, you just felt you were like in a blanket surrounded with horror. It was creepy. The cons, weak cliches, pacing issues, and domestic violence. The next one is the second book I read from Grady Hendrix, and that was We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. And prose, metal, and rock bands using horror as a moral to tell a story. Strong female leads. Cons, some people felt the middle of the book dragged. Some felt if it was formulaic, like formulaic and cliche. The next book I read was City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. I'm trying to read more of Victoria Schwab. If she reads middle grade, young adult, and adult, I want to read more of her. And getting a sample of her writing in this one. I think this is my first Victoria Schwab or V.E. Schwab book. Is the prose, lovable characters, hint, Jacob, atmosphere on point, and haunted history entwined. Because the story is set in sorry, but somewhere and it's basically a really old city, so that atmosphere, and I guess people who live near there would appreciate it a lot more. I felt the cons felt the writing was dumbed down, empty, and generic. Feels like any other middle grade. The first book, the Southern's Book Club Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix was my first book that I read by him. And prose, thoughtful, compelling, and intense, and moving. Book club a book that reads true crime and women facing evil. The cons, some view as tasteless, issues that a man is writing about women, and not many vampire scenes. The next book I read was Crazy Stupid Romance by Lyssa K. Adams. This one's my favorite out of all of them so far. Beefcake, the cat, is everything. It's a grouchy little cat that all at once is love. And the Russian character moments, like, I just cracked up with it. It was funny. And Nick and Noah romance, so adorable. And the cons are external family conflict, too angsty, typical romance story, and not talking to each other to solve these issues. The rereads I read was Rebecca, and I'll link that in the description box. And it's my favorite book of all time. And then I reread A Court in Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas, and I had fun. And it reminded me how much resend is everything in this book. And this book just makes you like, I fell in love with Recent all over again. I'm still currently reading the buddy read with a friend from Self Space. I feel so bad because I'm such a bad buddy read right now. She read the 20 pages already and I haven't. But she also is doing uni as well. But like, we're recently reading it together. We're kind of slow, so hopefully we'll get to finish it this month. And I'm also reading the Self Space Book Club and the Sword of Cayenne by M.L. Kwam. It was a gift from Kristen from Self Space, so thank you so much. I know I messaged you personally with a thank you, so I'm thanking you again for this. If you see this video, I'm also doing the Leviathan to the Leviathan 3 that Gavin hosts. I had read the key already, so I'm on the second book. It's all middle grade and everything. I'll link the video down in the bottom in the description box. And I also have also reading more books, and I'll have that link down the bottom. It's my library book haul, which is what I'll also be reading, so that'll be linked in the description box. And I'm gonna go through see if I missed anything. So, if you like this video, please put a thumbs up, and this time put a pie emoji in the comments box, and please subscribe if you wanna. Please like again, and see you in the comments.